Hello everyone, this is K and welcome to the awaited big special video, which is top 5 all Souls unused content. So for the last 3 years I have been uploading unused content for Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2 and 3, and today I am going to be listing the best of the best unused content. Now, a lot of research went into the making of this video, so I would be very much appreciated if you guys can smash that like button, and for the first time let us set a like goal. I'm not going to be setting a huge number, so I think a target of 1000 likes is plausible. So without further ado, let us begin. So coming in on the number 5 spot is going to be a very interesting questline that was removed from Dark Souls 1. And that is the questline of our dear beloved Oscar of Astraea. So Oscar is the very first person you meet in Dark Souls in the Undead Asylum, and even though his screen time wasn't very long, he left us with very important words which are still important to this very day.
Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the Undead Asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know.
He also gives us the Estus flask, which we carry on into the entirety of our journey. Now, this is where Oscar's story ends, as he hollows afterwards and you kill him. Or that is what happened in our world. Oscar was supposed to survive the Undead Asylum, and you were supposed to meet him in Firelink Shrine after Kingseeker Frampt appears. There is a channel on YouTube named Crestfallen, and in it showcases how the questline should have played out. I'm going to be giving you the general idea of it, but if you are interested in seeing it fully, the links will be down in the description. This is some of his dialogue from the Firelink Shrine.
A pleasure to meet you. Sage Frampt has spoken to me about you. I am Oscar of Astraea. I am told that you rang the bell of awakening and received the word of Frampt. That is a wonderful thing. We are all counting on you. I only wish that I had such a purpose. I am preparing to leave. I cannot just stay here. I must find my own purpose. I hope that we meet again somewhere. One day.
Now, the problem with Oscar is that he knows that you are the chosen undead. You are the one who rung the bells of awakening, and you are the one who fits the prophecy more, but he also wants to fulfill the prophecy himself, one way or another. And his questline spans all later until you reach the end game when killing Gwyn in the kiln of the first flame. If you choose to link the fire, Oscar opposes you.
I have waited for thee, foolish slave of the gods, and pawn of Frampt. I will kill you, and become the true Dark Lord.
If you choose to leave the fire to die, he also opposes you.
I had a feeling. I shall destroy you, as fate has commanded me. Foolish pawn of Darkstalker Karth, and fiendish Dark Lord.
So whatever ending you choose, Oscar was supposed to oppose your choice and fulfill his destiny even if it was in the wrong way. Now, why I really love this questline is because it sheds more light on a character that we never got to see what his character is. They planned out this entire questline for this character, and it made me love Oscar's character even more than we already do. Coming in at number 4 is the Bonfire Sacrifice mechanic from Dark Souls 3. Now, this is the exact reason that this video took a long time to make, because I wanted to include it in this video, but I wanted to also explore it in a separate video in depth before I upload this video. So, if you don't know what sacrifice ceremonies are, it is a mechanic that was one of the very things revealed for Dark Souls 3. The concept of it is that you were supposed to drag undead bodies around and use them to create your own bonfire. Now, the only lead we had for this is the descriptions that we had when the game was first revealed, and a cutscene shot seen in one of the trailers. But actually, the animations of this mechanic are still inside the files and can be accessed by using mods. As you can see, I have created some custom interface to showcase how the mechanic was supposed to work, and I go in depth in my separate video about it and its significance, and how some other animations related to this mechanic affected how it worked, such as animations of removing the bonfire swords or stabbing the swords onto the ground with 2 hands instead of 1. All of the links related to the content mentioned in this video will be linked down in the description below. Coming in at number 3 is an unused enemy / boss that is found inside the files of Dark Souls 1, and that is Undead King Joe. Now, this guy actually caused me some kind of mess while making this video, and you're going to be surprised as to why. Now, what is generally known about him is that he was an enemy that you were supposed to kill before Ingward, the Guardian of the Seal, can give you the seal and go fight the Four Kings. Here is the dialogue that he says that.
There is something I must ask. Do you see the great hall that stands before you? Atop it, you will find a dark wraith, a servant of the Four Kings. Show me that you can defeat it. As Guardian of the Seal, it behoves me to test your strength. For if you cannot defeat the dark wraith, you will be no match for the Four Kings.
But while I was making this video, I was thinking to myself, where did the name Undead King Joe even come from? And much to my surprise, this name doesn't even exist in the files of Dark Souls. I know you're saying like, what the hell are you saying, Sanadiske? Well, the only text that is linked with this enemy is his codename, which is Hushio_Ja_year. Now, it is already established that codenames are not by any means have to have a link with the boss, and we already established that in multiple videos before from Dark Souls 3. And just a quick example in the files of Dark Souls 3, the boss Aldrich is actually named Sullivan in the files, which is a completely different character with his own different story. And the Dancer of the Frigid Valley, or the Dancer of the Boreal Valley, is named Pursuit Heroine. Now, the same thing applies for most of the entities in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. Now, the part Ja_year or Jairu, as found in the Japanese debug by Zuli, is also mentioned in the codename of the Four Kings boss fight, and their name is Ja_year_demon. So, the name Jaril cannot be confirmed in any way that it is the name of that enemy or boss. Also, the part Hushio is close to the Japanese word Fushio, which means Undead King or Immortal King. So, the person who found this must have literally translated it and just assumed that this is the name of this enemy, which isn't proof of this name as we mentioned before. Now, my theory for all of this is that the supposedly Undead King Jaril is actually the initial design of the Four Kings, since they both share a part of their codename. Now, why I also think this, it is because the armor of the Four Kings is just a twisted version of Jaril's armor, so they must have designed his armor first, and then they created this demonic sort of version and decided to scrap his design. As for the Dark Wraith that Ingward mentions that you were supposed to kill, it might have been just a normal Dark Wraith or maybe red-eyed or something, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Jaril, or it might have been Jaril. There is no way to confirm all of this. Coming in at number 2 is an all-time favorite of mine, which is the Child Emerald Herald from Dark Souls 2. The Emerald Herald, or Shanalot as she is called, is the main NPC in Dark Souls 2, which lets you level up, and she guides you through the majority of the game. Now, what is special about her is that she has dragon blood inside of her, and you can see that her eyes are different colored. Now, in the files there is a model of a little child wearing very warm clothes as if she lives in a snowy type area. Now, we know that she is actually a child variation of Shanalot because she shares the exact same hair and eyes and facial features. Now, what I wanted to add onto this video is what is supposedly unused dialogue for the Child Emerald Herald. Now, this dialogue is taken from the network test version of the game and specifically the Japanese version, so all of the dialogue is actually translated, and the link to the full post done by Illusory Wall will be down in the description. Some of her dialogue is this. O ye lost souls that gather round the heart of man, souls of origin that ride the tides of the body, lend strength to my Savior from the very blood that flows through me, which carries the power of ancients and undead. Accept this power unto thee. I believe this to be the leveling up dialogue, or maybe she was supposed to give you a level or two just like Yol of Londor in Dark Souls 3. There is also these dialogues. Oh that, it's called Istinthia's feather. It blesses whoever picks them up with good fortune. Well, if you'll give me more of those feathers, I could forgive you. So, from these little hints and lines of dialogue, we can pretty much confirm that this is actually the Child Emerald Herald according to the whole feathers and leveling up thing. Now, we don't know if she was going to be entirely replacing the Emerald Herald, or that we were supposed to meet both of them at some point in the game. We already do have some time traveling elements in the game, such as the last giant actually being the Giant Lord after we beat him. So it is possible that we were supposed to meet her as a child, and it seems like it was a snowy area according to her clothes. Many people speculated that we would have met her in the Ivory King DLC, but sadly that wasn't the case. So before we jump to number 1, there are a couple of honorable mentions that I need to talk about. Now, if you noticed, I didn't list any armor sets or weapons, and that is because rating them would be based on their looks and aesthetics, and each person has a different taste in these kinds of stuff. But there are some super unique things that I have to mention, and there are a couple of things, so we will run through them as fast as we can. The first being the bear armor from Dark Souls 1. This armor set looks super unique and different from what we generally see from Dark Souls armors. Some people say it was removed very early on in the development stage as it didn't match the aesthetics of the game. That is kind of bullshit in my opinion, but at least we still have it in game. We also have to mention the Burial Knight set, the Giant set, and the Saint set that are in the files of Dark Souls 3. These armors also look very unique and look super cool. In terms of weapons, we can't forget the golden dual swords that have a unique moveset and weapon art in Dark Souls 3. There is also Lothric's scythe and Lorien's shield, which I am really interested to know how the boss was before they removed these things. I think it would have been a very interesting thing if Lorien incorporated a shield in his fight and Lothric using a scythe at the same time. Now, if you want to see all of the unused Dark Souls 3 content, make sure you click on the playlist link in the description down below to see all of the unused content of Dark Souls 3, and there are unused animation, unused movesets, unused weapons and armors and all of that, so make sure you check it out after this video is ended. So, it is time for the number 1 spot, ladies and gentlemen, and I think longtime Souls fans already saw this coming, and that is the Northil Limit, or the broken archstone found inside the files of Demon Souls. So Demon Souls is the first Souls games ever made, and the way the game was designed is that there are these magical archstones in the hub area in which you use them to travel to the area you need to progress in. But a mystery that has puzzled all fans of the game is one broken archstone which cannot be used by the player. People data mined the game and found that it was supposed to be an area called the Northil Limit, and that it was supposed to be a snowy area, and that it was an area gifted to the giants of the Northil lands, and that was it. 5 years later, while I was digging inside the Demon Souls files, I actually found that there is an entire map that was in the files that nobody even knew that it existed. You can see the remastered footage of sorts I have taken for the map itself, and it looks awesome. Now this footage I have taken it using 3ds Max, and I have used Zalamut's tools to actually import the models inside of 3D Max, and I've added the lighting and the textures. I had to rework all of the textures all over again because they were messed up, their UVs, so I had to fix all of them again and add the lighting and render all of that to get this footage for you. There are also multiple unused enemies and NPCs that were supposed to be inside this map, and you can see them on the screen. My favorite one is actually this unused enemy. It just looks super cool. Like, I like the theme that this guy was designed in. Like, I don't know, I really like his design. A month later, a modder called Gibbed, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, was able to access the map in-game, and for the first time ever, we got an in-game glimpse of what could have been the largest area in the entirety of Demon Souls. I am still hoping until now for a Demon Souls remaster with this area in the game. Demon Souls is actually one of my all-time favorite Souls games, if not the favorite. Even though the game has so many glitches and many things that need fixing, but I really love the setting of the game and just it has a special place in my heart. So that is it for today's video, and if you enjoyed, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons for more future content, and if you are interested, give my Bloodborne playthrough a visit. I talk about a lot of stuff in it, such as unused content in Bloodborne and its possibilities, and also a lot of stuff about myself if you would like to know more about me, I guess. So, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.